Welcome all. Bern here from EWPRO. Getting straight into the weekly outlook. Looking at the DXY and the daily. Nothing's really changed since last week. We're waiting to see what happens in here. There's two scenarios here. We have a nice impulse up. We can get an A, a B, and a C, and then at least three up. Or there is another scenario here on the lower time frame where we get another one up in here. We can get like an A, a B, and a C up in here before we get that larger A, B, C. So there is a chance that we still get another one just breaking these tops. If you're looking for the buy, you'd have to go right down onto the lower time frames, obviously, to get in. But you'd just be looking for a C up in here at this stage. If you're lucky, it takes off, but I doubt that will happen. On the H1, it's more on the lower time frame, but we already have three down in here. So if you got a nice impulse up in here, a bullish setup, you could look for a buy just for that A, B, C. Other than that, it's already given a correction. That's a problem for the sell. So you're probably a bit late to the party for the sell, because this was the sell in here. Had a nice impulse down and a correction. You already got three down. So it's pretty difficult to get into a sell now. You'd have to go down onto the lower time frames if you got a sell set up, or you could look for a sell too. And for the buy, like I mentioned, you'd really need this top here to be broken, then give you a correction before you could look for the buy for that C up. AU on the daily, we're waiting for this larger correction here. I'm looking for a time factor here in that wave 4. Pretty much like last week, it didn't really play out. It's more on the H1. We're looking for a wave 5 down. We're looking for like 1, 2, 3, a wave 4 and a wave 5 down. Well, this wave 5 never went and broke the ending point of that wave 3. So we're either getting a larger correction here, or this is going to go up and break the top. It's already given the bullish setup. If you're looking for a bullish setup, like we have an A, B, C here, a flat. Then we get an A, B, C. So because these tops have been broken over here, it's very risky to buy, because this can be the A, B, C here and it falls over. So you need a really nice buy setup to buy. And like I've said, we've already had that nice buy setup here, or even here. There was a nice correction in there. So we're getting bearish divergence here on the M15 too. So it's really risky to buy. If you got some sort of a correction in here, yes, you could scalp just to go and break the top. But for the sell, you'd need this low here to be broken. Nice correction in here, and then you could look for a sell. GU, very similar to last week. I am overall looking for more upside this wave C after we had this like A, B, C here. Now it's becoming quite difficult. It was virtually the same as AU. We're looking for a fifth wave down in here. It never played out. It never went and broke the low. Like we got 1, 2, 3. I was looking for a wave 4 and a wave 5 down, just breaking that low. Again, it never played out. So we're either getting a larger correction here, get a flat in here. So you get an A, B, C. If you're lucky, it takes off. But very similar to AU, it's already given the setup to buy. This one, it wasn't as nice as AU, the correction in here, but still, it's broken these tops. So, this one doesn't actually have the bearish divergence on it in here on the M15. So we may get a bull hidden in here. We may get some sort of a correction in here and a bull hidden. And then we get another one up. If you got a bull hidden and it looks corrective, well, then you could buy scalping just to go and break these tops here. And again, if you're lucky, it really takes off. But yeah. EU, we're looking for more upside. We've got this like A, B, looking for more upside here as well. This one looks quite nice in here. It did come down to the 100 fib like we were looking for. But like we got this A, B, C in here, so we can get it like an A, a B, and a C. All this turns motive. This is the end of the C wave, and we turns motive, and we get 5 up in here, breaking the tops. The problem I see with this is I've got this arrow here. There is a chance that we get a Z down in here, like a W, X, Y, and X2, and a Z down before we get this A, B, C. If we do get this Z down and it does come down and break these lows, well, then we'll be looking for an A, a B, and a C, a running or expanding flat in here before we get more downside. So because of the price action in here, we'll go down to the lower time frames. Very difficult to buy into this. And because you can see how corrective it looks, like you can see how corrective that looks. So be very careful buying at this stage. That to me looks corrective. There's nothing impulsive about it. So yeah, this can fall over at any time. If we go down to the M15, there may actually be bearish divergence. There is bearish divergence on the M15. So, if you're looking for that Z down, you'd need a break below this low, a correction, and then you could look for a sell. You need a break below this low here, a correction, and then you start to look for a sell. You got to wait for a complete correction in there on the lower time frames. NU, this one's been very tricky. I mean, we did get the C up here like this A, B, C. Didn't quite get to that 100 fib. Then we had this lower low here. We got a lower low. On the H4, we had 3 up in here. Up to that 100 fib. Bounced off the 100 fib. Impulse down, but now it's giving us an impulse up. I was looking for a bearish setup in here. It's taken off, so there is no sell on it. You'd be pretty much looking for a wave 4 and then trading a wave 5 up now. Like you got 1, 2, 3. You wait for a wave 4. More than likely, it'll give us a bull hidden in here, and then we trade a wave 5 up. We wait for this correction and then start to look for it. Make sure you got the bull hidden. And we confirm it in the room. We like to confirm the bull hidden. I can't go into that here, but yeah. So that's how we play it. At this stage, you can't just jump in up here. You got to wait for that wave 4, then trade the wave 5 up. GY, I'm looking for this like W, X, Y. I'm waiting for an X2, and then we can trade a wave Z up before we get the larger A, B, C, larger flat, and then more upside. I mean, I'm still very much bearish on this. We got this nice impulse down here. all this looks very corrective. It's just, we're just getting higher highs. And it's not, nothing looks impulsive about it. Sort of looks like a rising wedge, you know, or possibly a channel, but I'd be looking for an A, a B, and a C. Really need that larger C down to get that A, B, C. This one only had the, if you've been following me, you probably heard this all before. But here we only had an impulse down. We never got like 3 down like we did on UY when I go over UY. UY was the one to buy if you were looking for the buy, not GU, because UY already had the 3 down. This one didn't give us a 3 down. So this is still very much corrective to me. To look for more downside. I mean, now, because we got this in here, if I just go down to the zoom in a little bit here. Now I mean, we're getting all this bearish divergence, so that's fine. Really need this top in here to be broken, give us more bearish divergence, and then if we get a nice impulse down, a bearish setup, well, then we could sell to go and break this low over here. So I'm more interested in a sell. There is no sell on it, obviously. It's more bullish on the lower time frames. We've got a very unusual looking flat in here. But we got like 1, 2, 3. You get a wave 4, and you could trade a wave 5 up. Again, you'd want a bull hidden or something in here to confirm that there's more than likely you're going to get that 5th wave up before you buy. Yeah. Other than that, if you get break below this low here and a sell set up, well, then you could look for a sell too. UY on the daily. We already had the 5 up in here, and I'm looking for that A, B, C. It's just not falling over. This one here, like I mentioned, we did have the 3 down in here, so this was the one to buy out at G, Y, and UY. I said, you know, this would be the better one to buy because we did get the 3 down in here. And it's just about gone up and broken the top, hadn't quite yet. I'd be very careful now, because we do have a bear hidden here. We haven't broken the top. And if we go down to the lower time frames, we're getting bearish divergence. So be very careful buying this. I'd be more on the sell side. It's hard to see the divergence, isn't it? But we do have a lot of bearish divergence in here. So be very careful buying this. I'd be more interested in a sell with that bear hidden. It's not really giving us a setup. We could look at this as like an A, B, C in here. Then we get an A, B, C, get a C up in here. And then on the lower time frames, if you look for a sell and you get a sell, you could look for at least 3 down. So I'm more bearish on this, on the lower time frames for sure. It looks very much like a flat in here. We just get that C up, just breaking these tops here. And then if you get a sell set up, you can look for a sell. USD CAD, this is more on the lower time frame. We've been looking at this possible wave 5 up in here. This was very deep. Like this wave 4 was very deep into this wave 3. And like I've been saying, this wave 4 has come into the territory of this wave 2. The time factor is pretty much spot on here in this correction. It hasn't gone and broken the top yet, but we do have a nice impulse up. So if we do get a correction in here, 5 down or 3 down, we could look for a bite to go up and break that top. Still very much bullish on this, but we may get a correction in here. In fact, I'd be looking for, at least a C down here. But we got a nice impulse here. If we get some sort of a correction, you could look for a sell. You got to wait for a complete correction. At this stage, there is no complete correction. Unless we look at this here, we got an A, B, C here. It's just broken that low. That's what I don't like about it. We do have 3 down, so you can look for a buy. But this can become more complex, and we get like an impulse, 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 and then we get a correction in here. Another impulse. So you get 3 down in here, breaking this low, and then you get an A, a B, a C, a flat, and then you get that A, B, C, like we were looking for, 3 down, and then it goes and breaks the tops. So yeah, it's pretty much scalping on the lower time frames at this stage, and you want to be careful buying in here, because like I said, this can just be a correction in here and you get 3 down. So yeah, the Swissy, I mean, this is I'm more bearish on this as well, as I've gone over. We did have this impulse here. It's on the lower time frames, it doesn't look impulsive. We did get a break above this top over here though. So there's a couple of scenarios here. I mean, we were looking for this. Oh, that was on the lower time frames, but we were looking for this like A, B, C here, and then an A, B, C. This bounced, well, close to the 100 fib there. So it didn't really give us a nice sell setup, this one. This was very deep. This wave here was very deep into this wave here. There is a bear hidden there, and it's already gone and broken the low. We may be, I'll just check to see if we are getting bullish divergence in here. We are getting bullish divergence, and we have sort of like 5 down. So here, there's really not much you can do with this one, because we already got the bullish divergence. We had a bear hidden here. That's already played out and breaking the low. So unless you got a really nice bearish correction in here, you're pretty much staying out. I mean, you could scalp it if you got a nice impulse up, well, and a bullish setup, well, you could scalp an A, B, C in here. But I mean, it's we've already got bullish divergence, so I'm not really. It's too late to sell. Yeah, and there is no buy set up on it. EG, we got the, looking at that as that leading diagonal, and then we got this A, B, C here. It tried to go here, but never went. So we're getting some sort of a larger correction in here. Really, I mean, this one's sort of played out too, because we had that, when we were looking at this, I said, you got to be very careful because we have a bear hidden here. That's come down and broken the low. Now we have an impulse. So this is very, very corrective. Even if we take this, I was looking at that expanding flat there to start off with after this nice impulse there to get an A, a B, a C. It did. It bounced clean off that 100 fib. But then it never went and broke the lows. So this is more of a larger correction for downside. Like this is the impulse here, impulse, impulse, correction, impulse. So we got a flat here. We got like an A, B, C here. And then we get an A, a B, a C. Well, that's played out. Hadn't quite broken this low here though yet, I don't think. So again, it's not playing the game. You got to be very careful because this low here hasn't been broken. for this possible flat here, for this A, B, C to go down and break these lows. We do have an impulse up in here now. I'd still be very much bearish on this. Very much bearish. We have an impulse down here. Get a correction. May even be something on this to sell on the lower time frame, so I will go down onto the lower time frames. I mean, you got to be very careful here. But if we look at this as a flat, you got an A, a B, and a C. We've got bearish divergence in here. Nice impulse down. So I'll go down to the lower time frames to show you what I'd be looking for. So we have a nice impulse down, similar to M15. We have an A, we get a B, we get a C up in here, and then if you go down to the, well, we're right down on M5, get a sell set up on the M1, you could look for an A, B, C. If you're looking to buy this, you got to be very careful, because as soon as that top there is broken, it can fall over on you and give you like those three down here. WTI, waiting for this correction here, finally starting to get a correction. I mean, this is a mess now. We were looking for this down in here, like this was looking very bearish. It's already given us the A, B, C down, and this low here has been broken. It hadn't quite got to that 100 fib we were looking for, but yeah, we can get like an A, a B, and a C in here now. So I would be looking for upside. I'll just check to see if there is bullish divergence here. There's no bullish divergence. But we haven't got down to that 100 fib yet either. So I still would be looking for a buy. I'd be looking for a buy in here if I just... So really need some sort of an impulse out of here, a correction. And then you could look for a buy for at least 3 up. I mean, we have all the bullish divergence, so that I'm only looking for buys. Yeah, so really we need an impulse up, a correction, and then if it gives you a bullish setup, you could look to buy for at least 3 up. And you know, this, like I said, this can give us, because we have this 3 down in here, we get that A, B, and a C up. So there can be a fair bit of upside in this. Gold, looking at this, like, well, there's a couple of scenarios. This A, B, and a C for this B wave, and then an A, B, C. But this C down turned very corrective. Like I've been saying, this is, you know, there was nothing impulsive after this B wave for this C down. This has been looking very much bullish. You know, there's nothing impulsive about it. We do have 3 down in here now. On the H1, we have a nice impulse up from a low. We have the bullish divergence, so that's fine. We got a nice impulse up. So if we get a correction in here, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you could look to buy. This correction may take a couple of days, so you got to be patient, wait for a complete correction, and then look for a buy for at least a C up. And this may go up and even break the top on the daily. You know, and we get some sort of a weird correction in here, or just an A, a B, and a C up in here. So there is a bit of upside in this. If we get a nice entry on the M30 or M15 after that nice impulse on the H1, need the correction, and then we can look for a buy. Silver, I mean, this is a little bit different than gold, but very similar in ways. That was looking very corrective in here, and I was thinking this will fall down and break these lows for some sort of an A, B, C here. It hasn't happened. We had a nice impulse down here. Had a nice impulse down. This still can be a correction here, like an A, B, C. Then you get an A, B, C here before you get more downside. So gold at this stage does look a lot better than this one. But there is no sell set up on it. It's very similar to gold, this, but this one here is a lot more riskier. This here, because we do have like a bear hidden here. So we didn't get that really nice impulse like we got on gold, giving us a direction. With that bear hidden there, you got to be very careful because this can, this can turn bearish very quickly. It looks bullish now, but it can turn bearish very quickly. M15, for example, we have like 3 up. Sorry, in here. So we already have 3 up with bearish divergence. So if you were looking for a buy, I'd be looking for a buy on gold, not silver, because this can fall over here and break these lows. And don't be surprised if that happens. Bitcoin, this is looking very bearish, so we are looking for another one down. There is a chance that we get some sort of a W, X, Y, and X2 in here, Z up before it does fall over. We are getting a ball hidden in here. That's why I say we can get a wave Z up in here before it falls over. We were looking for 5 down in here. Pretty much got it, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like we may have actually lost the divergence, did we? Yes, we did. We actually lost the divergence here, so I'm still very much bearish on this. Yeah, so there is no buy setup for a wave Z up, and this does look very much bearish, doesn't it? Looks very corrective in here. I'd be more bearish on it, but you have to be careful because we already have that 5 down. So you really want a larger correction, larger than these over here, before you look for that sell. So you could be sitting on the sideline for quite some time waiting for this correction. At this stage, it does look very corrective. But there is no setup. Like, you can't just go selling down the bottom here. You get cut to pieces if you do things like that. S&P 500 pretty much staying out of this. Like I said, we're right at the top of the market. You're only scalping, going with the trend at this stage. I'm waiting for a sell setup, but as you can see, it's giving us, getting bearish. Well, we've got a lot of bearish divergence, but really need a sell setup. And for a sell setup, we need a nice impulse, a correction, and then we could look for at least 3 down. This could be some sort of an A, a B, and a C flat here before we get more upside. So I am looking for sells. Not really interested in the buy, especially up here. We've got all the bearish divergence. It's risky. If you get scalps on the lower time frames, you can go with the trend, but they're just scalps, like, AU 200. Looking for this A, B, get a C up in here. This does look very corrective in here, so looking for a buy. I actually get something now if I go down to the lower time frame. Got an expanding flat in there. So we get like, this can turn motive. So you could look for a buy in here on the lower time frames. If you got some sort of a correction in there, you could look for more upside. I mean, you're pretty much late to the party because it already has broken the tops for an A, B, C. You're a little bit late to the party. You'd be wanting to get in around these areas in here, where it's giving you the first correction, if not the second correction. Not so much up in here. Yeah, it's pretty risky at this stage to get in because it's already given this 3 up. So you've got to be careful. But I guess, if you did get a correction in here, you could look for a buy just to go up and break the top. If you're lucky, it takes off on you. Ideally, it does, and this turns motive. This turns into like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The FTSE, not really that much on the daily. Did have like I'll go down to the lower time frame. It's pretty much like I said last week. We get an A, a B, and a C up in here before we get an A, B, C. So, like I said last week, if you're looking for the buy, you more than likely it's just going to be an A, B, C before we get that larger C down. It hadn't played out yet. It hadn't gone up and broken that top. This is very choppy in here. I mean, yeah. I mean, there is another scenario too. We get 3 down in here, like an A, a B, and a C down in here before we get an A, B, C too. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's other better trades to look at. There's really not much on that one. I mean, I'd be trading the AU 200 before I trade the FTSE at this stage. The DAX, well, we already had that A, B, C here, but this can be, like I mentioned, this can be the larger flat here because it's just about gone up and broken the top. We get like an A, a B, and a C up in here. I mean, it's too late now to do anything. Because if you remember, I was saying be very careful buying this because there's that bear hidden there. So this can fall over. That bear hidden has been taken out now over here. But we have like 1, 2, 3 up in here with bearish divergence now. So, I mean, you can scalp going with this trend on the lower time frames, but it's really just scalping. Like, you'd be waiting for some sort of a correction in here to just trade it like a C up. Extremely risky, and there is no sell on it either. Like, if anything, it's very much bullish, still, because we do have that bull hidden there too under this low here. So, you get a very choppy wave in here and it looks corrective. You get a buy set up, or you could look for, to go up and at least break that top and give you like I showed, that A, B, C. So I hope you got something out of this weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.